Hello and welcome back to Ginger Kid Outdoors. Today, and this thing's still stiff, ooh, hot too. I'm going to be going over my Taurus 24/7 OSS, yep that's right, DS. This is a 5 1/4 inch 45 ACP pistol that was discontinued, I want to say back in 2012, 2015, something like that. This was actually put up for SOCOM for a possible replacement to some of the 45 caliber pistols that they were using. Of course, that program that they were looking for a new pistol, the Taurus did actually survive quite a bit through the trials, but unfortunately because of funding, they ended up cutting it. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff on the Taurus 24/7 OSS. As I mentioned, 5 1/4 inch barrel, and I'm also going to be doing a comparison between it and another 5 1/4 inch barreled 45 ACP I have. That, more shooting coming up next. Okay, so I've got another mag loaded up. They're 12 round magazines, but I have only 10 rounds loaded up in them to kind of keep it evenly spaced between two handguns right now. I'm shooting at a distance of approximately 20 yards with a 45 ACP. It does have a cocked indicator and a loaded chamber indicator. Ooh, that's hot. That you can see is right here. You've got pretty familiar controls to a lot of the Taurus handguns. This has a safety. It has fire and safe, of course, but if it's in safe, you can actually push it up and it will decock the pistol. Now, this handgun also has a second strike feature, which I'll show you a little bit more on. Right now, with it in a decocked, it's more like a traditional double action, a longer trigger pull in order to fire the handgun. Oops, big flinch too. Now it'll automatically, obviously, cycle the action. It's going to reset it into its single action format with a lighter trigger pull. It has been quite a while since I've shot this. Obviously, I'm probably missing more than I'm hitting, but I don't shoot handguns as much as I used to. I used to shoot exclusively only 45s for the longest time. And of course, it will lock open on the last round fired. All controls for it are on the, going to be set up for a right-hand user, with the exception of the safety, of course. Your magazine release is, if I remember correctly, non-swappable. It is, as I mentioned, I guess showing you this way doesn't really help, a 12 round magazine. But it does have a lockout device here where Taurus, when they were importing the pistols, in order to get through some of the import restrictions they had an additional lock that I've got it locked in the fire position here, but you could actually lock it so you would not even be able to manipulate the slide. Now, of course, the 24/7 family here has gone to the wayside, and of course has gone into, it was a 24/7, the Millennium series, and then it went over to the G2, G3. I think there's up to a G4 now with Taurus. I haven't bought any Taurus handguns since the G2 and the 12 round 9mm. Of course, as I mentioned, this is a 45 ACP. Pretty much went over the double strike capability of it, the ability to, as I mentioned, actually decock the pistol. That was one of the features that they wanted with the contract they were trying to win, which of course they didn't. The Brazilian Special Forces did pick this handgun up, and I guess did field it all the way up until the discontinuing of the commercial version of it. So kind of give you a look at both sides of the handgun. Of course, you know, I don't have any of the stuff deleted out of there for like the serial number, so you'll be able to see that. The serial number looks to be only on the barrel and slide, of course. You do a little bit of check-in. Nothing on the frame, so the frame itself is not serial numbered, which is, I mean, you got your serial numbered part as the slide there. Oh, no, frame is serial numbered on the back, so I kind of thought that was weird. So yes, it is serial numbered on the slide, frame, and of course the barrel. And the barrel is pretty well worn, and this one I have not shot as much as the next handgun coming up. Does have Novak style sights, so you've got a dovetail on both front and rear that you can independently adjust for windage there. There is no elevation adjustment on these, of course. But yes, that is the Taurus 24/7 OSS DS in a 5 1/4 inch barrel. Now, I do say this is fairly decent for the actual recoil impulse on it for a 45, and to compare it to the next handgun, this one here is a H&K USP Tactical. This is also a 45 caliber handgun. Put the Taurus down for a second, and I've got a M6X light equipped on this. Obviously, this is an older style light. I've swapped out the sights on it. It had the original target style regular sights, but these have gone over to a tritium system I put on them with the full adjustable rear sight. As you can see, this one is pretty well sighted in. I've shot this one probably the most. This was actually my first handgun I ever bought. So, but yeah, I think there's been several YouTubers that have done reviews on the 45 and the HK USP Tactical here, but a little bit more weight. And you can see between the two of them that the USP is a thicker all the way around. It's got a thicker grip on it. It's got a little bit longer. Yeah, even like the overall purchase of it, how high up they sit. It will sit up a little bit higher than what the Taurus does. The Taurus was a slimmer handgun, and that's kind of what they were looking for. But the HK here, this USP's been around in the 45 for a very long time, so they definitely have the Taurus beat on longevity of what the handguns are. So kind of see there, they do have the same barrel length. So yep, do a little bit more shooting with the HK here, load up a magazine. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now that I smell like beer, let's go ahead and finish off the magazines on these. Didn't lock open on that one, but yeah, running akimbo with 45 ACPs is a little bit more back pressure than what you're going to be anticipating. But I think I'm going to go clean these up, and that one doesn't even look like it got that much beer on it. The Taurus did. God, that's still stiff. But that one didn't lock open. Yep, she did there. So, yep, that will conclude my video for today on the Taurus OSS, and of course the 45 Tactical by HK, their USP, to kind of compare it to. So thank you for sticking around to the end here, and I guess I'll see you in my next video. All ammunition today is law enforcement, I guess lawman ammunition by Speer. Gonna do a 230 grain jacketed, full metal jacket I should say, and see what kind of damage it does to a beer can here. Oh, flinch, and wasn't loaded. Well, it definitely not a bad idea to have the raincoat out, because I don't want to smell like beer when I'm driving home. Probably not the best idea. Coming up next, we'll do a comparison between the Taurus and the HK USP Tactical. Again, we're running Speer Lawman 230 grain full metal jacket. This is again is the HK USP Tactical. Bringing a stop to underage drinking in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I think that one actually kind of threw more back than what the Taurus did, so probably all comes down to where I hit that can at. But yep, that is the stopping power, if you will, of the 45 ACP. Okay, so after doing some shooting yesterday with the OSS and the HK USP 45 Tactical, I decided to come back out today, do some slow motion shooting, of course, and actually record ballistics on this to see, is one actually able to propel the bullet faster than the other one, both being a 5 1/4 inch barrel, but this one being a traditional lands and grooves, and the HK is polygonal rifled. Supposedly, polygonal rifled is supposed to help increase the velocity, I should say. So, we're going to shoot 10 rounds out of each handgun and see what we come up with. Did it again. You have to load the handgun if you're going to shoot it. Remember that. Okay, so that is 10 rounds fired. Again, this is a Taurus 24/7 OSS DS for a double strike or their double action system. I mentioned it before, if you push up on this, do it from the other side, you can actually decock to allow that strikered indicator, which you see here. You decock it, that goes away. You can still carry it in the safe position, the safety up, so that way it'll disengage the trigger on it. And then if you're going to shoot it double action, there is a long, actually probably easier to show you from this side, long double action pull. You have to pull all the way through, and then of course it's going to reset it, so you have just a real short play. Okay, so after that I'm going to go ahead and end my session. Wrong button. And get ready to start a new one, reset, and get the 45 Tactical by HK out. Okay, so to make sure that everything is equal, I have the flashlight off of the HK. I'm going to go and select new session, pistol, 600 to 1700 feet per second, definitely within there. I've got my weight set to 230 grains, and I've got it set approximately 5 to 15 inches below the bore of the handgun, so we should be all good there. Ammunition, I forgot to mention earlier, is still going to be the Spear Lawman 45 ACP in a 230 grain full metal jacket. And slide did not lock back. Yep. that the spring in this magazine is getting really weak. As I mentioned before, this handgun has been left loaded for years on end. I mean, I've had this handgun now for over 20 years, and it's no exaggeration that some of these magazines were loaded and then forgot about. It's just the downside of, if you collect firearms, you're going to have this issue. You're going to carry them all the time, shoot them all the time, and then all of a sudden you get something else that you like better, you start shooting it all the time, and it just kind of gets forgotten about. But yeah, just make sure you're doing all your maintenance, not only on making sure everything is oiled and cleaned, but make sure you're doing regular maintenance on magazines, cleaning out the inside of magazines, and definitely when you start seeing low spring tension on them, all you got to do is just get some more magazine spring replacements. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead on this one and end this session. All right, and then I should be able to do some comparison between the two of them and see if the HK versus the HK USP, I should say, versus the Taurus OSS sees any like major difference shooting the exact same ammunition out of them from one handgun to the other, or if it's just kind of a wash between them. So I think I'll go over that some next after I get a chance to review some of the data. So interesting enough, between the two handguns, the Taurus here averaged around 800 feet per second. Now the maximum spread on that for cartridges was around 29 feet per second, where the HK was right around 850 feet per second for an average, with a greater deviation max spread of, I think it was 54 feet per second. So it's interesting that there was a difference between the two of them with a 10 round group that was fired, and with something as much of a 50 feet per second difference just between the two handguns. Is it a fluke? Is it the Lawman ammunition? I don't know, but I mean, a lot of these companies that were putting these polygonal rifle barrels were saying you get a better gas seal, and with a 50 feet per second difference in a 5 1/4 inch barrel, I mean, that's definitely nothing to possibly shake a stick at, if you will, but that's actually an impressive finding between the two handguns. I mean, this one did have a smaller split than the HK, but the HK was shooting faster. So I mean, for that, just the actual max difference in ammo, that is probably going to be more chalked up to the Lawman, but it is hard to say. I mean, Speer does manufacture a lot of ammunition, and I mean, they've got like their gold dot hollow points, and everybody swears by those. So I haven't had any issues with any of it, with malfunctions, misfires, anything like that, and I've shot almost 400 rounds of it just screwing around with these two handguns. So I mean, so far I haven't had an issue with it. I mean, it was a great deal on Palmetto that they had it on sale, so I mean, that helped out a little bit. I kind of wish I would have bought more, but I mean, I probably go back to shooting 9mm all the time. So, but yeah, kind of a quick little comparison video between an HK USP Tactical and the PT-24-7, the OSS model here by Taurus. So I do like that Taurus has their little tactical nomenclature on the side of it, where the USP also had to make sure they have tactical on the side of their slide as well. So I will say this for the finish, I am starting to see, just from yesterday into today, a little bit of surface rust now on the slides. So they did not take the time to invest in any kind of a epoxy coating like HK does on a lot of their firearms. So that is, you know, one area where you're going to see a reduce in cost on a handgun, which is why Taurus is a cheaper company than what HK is. I mean, HK doesn't just price gouge you. They do put a lot of money into what they're doing, and then they price gouge you. So it's like I said, it's the HK taxes. If you want to go into like HK, I mean, you figure this handgun's still probably around $1,000 to $1,200. And when I bought this one, I think brand new they were like $400 or under, and buying used maybe, God, I want to say like $200. So all in all, I mean, I've always liked the HK better. I've always shot the HK better. And as probably all the handguns, the HK has been the one I have been able to shoot the best. I mean, you can see that just from like the short amount of time that I filmed any kind of shooting here with the HK and the OSS. So, but each individual might have a different preference on firearms and their ability to shoot them. It all comes down to how good something actually fits in your hand and what you're willing to do to make do if you want to shoot something that might not quite be the right grip for you. So some all stuff to take into consideration when you're looking at handguns to go out and choose them. That will pretty much conclude this video. I've got some quite a bit of daylight left, and I want to do some shooting with the 308. So going between the 18-inch barrel, since I've got my 18-inch Mossberg MVP bolt action, and then the 18-inch Armalite AR-10. I want to do some recording with that, with the Garmin, I should say, chronograph, and see if there is any noticeable difference between the velocity on those. I'm only down to 18 rounds of the ammunition I have for it to make it like equal on both sides, so I'm probably only going to be doing a 9-round group on each one of those, but look for that probably within the next week or two. So hopefully I can get this stuff put together and get this video out hopefully within the next couple days. So maybe the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday sometime. So yeah, other than that, hope you've enjoyed the video and you found at least something interesting with the OSS by Taurus, or of course the HK USP Tactical. I mean, if you got the money to spend on them, they're a great investment. They're still around, they still manufacture them. They actually have, the new ones have a ambi safety on them, so they did go in that route. But yeah, good old hammer fired pistol is still, I think, a great option to go with.